U.S. home prices just hit another record, $440, $3,600. That sounds like great news for sellers, but home sales fell again from the previous month, and nearly 1 in 5 listings has already cut its asking price. So which story is actually true? Do record prices mean sellers are still in control, or are buyers gaining leverage as more homes sit, cut prices, and compete for attention? The answer is both can be true, just not in the same neighborhood, the same price range, or the same negotiation. And whether you are buying or selling, that difference matters. A buyer can overpay because a national headline makes the market look stronger than it really is. A seller can read that same headline, assume another offer is coming, and hold out too long. The number everyone sees is the final sale price. What actually decides the deal is how many realistic options each side has, and how long each side can afford to wait. In this video, I'll show you why a record national price can hide weakening seller leverage, how a seller's private deadline can change a negotiation, and the 3 local signals to check before you make an offer or reject one. Let's start with the record. The record is real, but it only describes the homes that actually made it to closing. It does not fully capture the homes that sat for weeks without an acceptable offer, were pulled from the market, or came back after a contract fell apart. And it does not show how much the seller gave up behind the scenes. A home can close near the asking price while the seller pays closing costs, offers a repair credit, buys down the mortgage rate, leaves appliances, or agrees to other concessions. On paper, the sale price can still look strong. In the real transaction, the seller may have given up thousands of dollars. There is another reason the market can feel weak. While the median sale price keeps rising, the mix of homes being sold has changed. Suppose high mortgage costs push more first-time buyers out of the market, so fewer lower-priced homes sell. At the same time, higher income buyers keep purchasing more expensive properties. Even if total sales fall, the median price of the homes that do sell can still rise. That does not mean the data is fake. It means the data answers a much narrower question than most people think. It tells you the median price among the sales that were completed. It does not tell you whether the seller of the home you are looking at can reject your offer and easily find another buyer. That distinction matters even more when mortgage rates are in the mid-sixes. Freddie Mac data from late July put the average rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage at 6.58%. At that rate, buyers are not really shopping for a price, they are shopping for a monthly payment. A home can have the same asking price it had a few years ago and still cost far more each month. That changes how buyers behave. They compare more carefully. They are less willing to stretch their budgets. They walk away faster. And they pay much closer attention to property taxes, insurance, HOA fees, repair costs, and financing incentives. So yes, the homes that do close can still push the national median to a new high. At the same time, plenty of sellers can be dealing with fewer showings, longer time on the market, and much harder negotiations. That is why asking, is America a buyer's market or a seller's market, is usually the wrong question. There is no single American housing market. The real market is the small group of homes competing for the same group of buyers. If you are selling a 3-bedroom house, your competition is not every listing in the country. It is the nearby 3-bedroom homes with similar schools, similar condition, similar prices, and increasingly similar monthly payments. Picture 2 neighborhoods. In the first, there are only 3 attractive homes for sale and 10 serious buyers. A seller can turn down a weak offer because another buyer may show up tomorrow. In the second, 20 similar homes are competing for 3 people who are actually ready to buy. Some are existing homes, some are new construction, some come with lower rate financing, upgrade packages, or help with closing costs. Now the buyer can compare everything: price, condition, taxes, insurance, repairs, HOA fees, incentives, and the monthly payment. That buyer does not need to be a brilliant negotiator. The buyer's strongest weapon is another house that works just as well. The more credible the alternative, the easier it is to say no. This deal doesn't work for me. That is how inventory turns into bargaining power. But inventory alone does not decide who gives in first. Time does. Imagine 2 nearly identical houses on the same street, similar size, similar condition, almost the same asking price. The first seller bought 10 years ago, refinanced at a very low rate, has built substantial equity, and has no fixed deadline to move. If the offers are disappointing, that seller can wait. The home can be rented. The listing can be pulled. The move can be delayed. Now look at the second seller. This owner bought near the 2022 peak with a smaller down payment. Now a job transfer requires a move, and the house is sitting empty. Every month brings another mortgage payment, property taxes, insurance, utilities, maintenance, and maybe rent or a second mortgage in another city. To a buyer, the two homes may look almost identical. Financially, the sellers are in completely different positions. One seller is protecting an ideal price. The other is trying to stop the cash from draining every month. That is where a negotiation can change quickly. In week 1, accepting a lower offer may feel too painful. By week 8, the cost of waiting may hurt more than the price cut. The house did not change. The seller's deadline did. And that deadline is usually invisible. The asking price is public. The carrying cost is private. A smart buyer does not assume every seller is desperate, but a smart buyer does watch for signs that time is getting more expensive. There is also another competitor many existing home sellers underestimate: large home builders. A builder does not always have to cut the advertised price. It can buy down the mortgage rate, cover closing costs, include appliances, add upgrades, or offer financing through an affiliated lender. That lets the builder protect the public price while lowering what the buyer actually pays each month. An existing home seller may think, "My asking price is the same as that new home down the road." But to the buyer, those can be two completely different financial offers. If the new home comes with a lower mortgage rate and thousands of dollars in incentives, the builder is not really competing on price. It is competing on the monthly payment. For a buyer focused on the monthly payment, that can decide the entire deal. This is also why value can shift from the seller to the buyer without causing a dramatic drop in the national median price. The adjustment can show up as a rate buy-down, a repair credit, a commission concession, seller-paid closing costs, or included upgrades. The recorded sale price holds, the seller's actual net proceeds do not. Before anyone hears this and concludes that a housing crash is coming, that is not the argument here. A shift in negotiating power is not the same thing as a wave of forced selling. Many homeowners still have low-rate mortgages, substantial equity, and the ability to stay where they are. Some markets still have tight inventory. Some sellers are still receiving multiple offers. That is exactly why this market feels so confusing. Leverage is not shifting everywhere at the same time. It is moving unevenly, city by city, neighborhood by neighborhood, and sometimes even street by street. And the shift usually appears in the terms of individual deals before it shows up in a national index. First, homes take longer to sell. Then more sellers cut their asking prices. Then repair credits and help with closing costs become more common. Finally, sellers start accepting terms they would never have considered when buyers had fewer choices. So how can you tell whether that shift is happening in your local market? Here are the 3 signals I would watch. Signal number 1, competition among comparable homes. Do not just count every home listed across the entire city. Count the homes that are realistic substitutes for the one you are considering. Same neighborhood, similar price, similar size, age, condition, and monthly ownership cost. Then watch whether that group is growing. When buyers have several acceptable choices, they do not feel forced to compromise. When only one home truly works, the seller has much more room to hold firm. Signal number 2, time. And what sellers do when it starts working against them. How long have similar homes been listed? Are listings being pulled and then brought back with a new listing date? Are homes going pending and then returning to the market? When a contract falls apart, does a price cut follow quickly? One home sitting for a long time may simply be overpriced or poorly presented. But if a group of similar homes keeps sitting, relisting, and cutting prices, that is different. It means buyers are repeatedly rejecting the seller's expectations. Signal number 3. Seller concessions. This is the part a headline sale price is most likely to hide. Look for seller-paid closing costs, repair credits, mortgage rate buydowns, included appliances, upgrade packages, more flexible inspection terms, and anything else that lowers the buyer's real cost. A home can sell for 98 or 99% of the asking price and still be a much better deal for the buyer than the final number suggests. That is not a minor technical detail. It is money moving from one side of the transaction to the other. So before you ask whether national home prices are going up or down, ask 4 questions that actually shape the negotiation. How many similar homes can this buyer choose from? How long have those homes been sitting on the market? What does it cost the seller to wait one more month? And which side can walk away more easily? Those answers will tell you more about who has the leverage than the national median sale price ever will. For buyers, leverage comes from credible alternatives. For sellers, leverage comes from patience and from not being under pressure to sell. The side with more options and less urgency usually controls the deal. Tell me your city in the comments, and tell me roughly how many days similar homes typically sit before they sell. That local number may reveal more than the national headline. In the next video, we are going to look at why the real price of a home is shifting from the asking price to the monthly payment. The seller can choose the asking price, but the person who can still turn around and walk away is the one who really controls the deal.